It's the OCG Fam Show, Viewer Questions, Part 2. Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? How you doing? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. Speaking of the comments, as you know, we do questions in the comments. You ask them, we answer them. Scott answers them. And we did that yesterday, but it was only the first part. So today's part 2 of that. So watch it, and I'll see you tomorrow. I love you. You're back! The connection's not great this time around, but I think it's okay. People are getting the idea.
I think we lost a lot of viewers today.
Probably so, but that's the way it goes. So, Zachary Rowley had a question, and I'll just paraphrase. So, a lot of times, and I've done this myself, you shake up the herc, and you think you've shook it up good enough, but you haven't. Or maybe it's your first time around, and you don't know that you have to shake it up like crazy. What happens if I feed 2-3 times with just that goo on the stuff on the top, and I didn't get a good mix?
Well, for most of the products, you still got the active ingredient. Especially like Herc, because it is, calcium phosphate that's liquid form. The thickness is gum, so you didn't feed them gum. No worries there. Now, the one I have seen an issue with is Olympus Up.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do, it won't hurt anything by using it not shooken, but the concentration's a lot less because the limestone will sit down in a big clump on the bottom, and if you don't get that into suspension, that's actually what's creating the alkalinity and the increase of pH. So usually the only time, if it's just 2 or 3 feedings, you're not harming anything. When people get to the very end of a 2.5 gallon jug and they have this much crap on the bottom, like, my plants never got the bone meal. Well, they actually got all the bone meal, they just didn't get any protein gum. So that's the microbial food that we put into Herculean Harvest. So,
a couple times, no big deal. You haven't ruined the jug, and you haven't not gave your plants most of what they need.
Adding water to that just dilutes the 060 and makes it less.
So let me say, so let's say you did 5 or 6 times and you realized, would you add some water, or would you just shake it up and just have it?
Yep, I just shake the heck out of it and go from there.
Okay.
Or if it's like half a gallon and you go, oh no, I still have a half a gallon and it's this much crap, go buy another gallon, put 1/3 of that gallon into this and shake it up, and then you have good product. But adding water just dilutes down the gum. You don't have concentrated bone meal at the bottom of a jug, it's gum.
Oh, so adding the water, you're like getting not good. Just add some more bone meal or live with it. Add some more hurt or live with the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Good answer. Okay, this is a one about if you have toxicity. We talked about that with pushing hard with the Roman regimen. When you're flushing, would you still flush with Herc, or would you be just flushing with water? For toxicity.
I personally, it depends on the toxicity, but if it's just a super high ppm, I still hit it with Herc because that speeds up that tying up of the excess ppm. So, no, I'm still a huge fan of Herc for most toxic issues.
This brings a question to my mind. So, a lot of people that do use other nutrient lines or this whatever, is a Herculean flush valuable to anyone growing in soil, even if they weren't using Nectar?
What was the question you broke out?
It's people that maybe are using, synthetics or using cutting edge or using some other nutrient line. Is a Herc flush a good thing even for them? I mean, is it an especially valuable thing? I mean, does that make any sense, the question?
No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will have issues running a synthetic line or a salt-based nutrient line and will have a tie-up or an excess or a toxic level in their medium. And a lot of people will look for those flushing agents, so whether it's Clearex from Botanicare or Res Clean or Flora Clean, one of these other brands, which are usually just a sugar water sense. With those folks, what we find is if they do get an opportunity to use Herculean as a preventative or a corrective flush, they see not only the plant respond to being able to get their root systems back into a clean medium, but then this interjection of immediate calcium uptake that the plant just, I mean, it's like taking a vitamin B12 shot. The plant goes and gets strips of its force-fed nutrition, is offered up this liquid calcium form, and they literally just like pop. So there's always a benefit, even for any top-fed soil, whether it's synthetically fed, super soiled, no-till, nectar-fed. Doing the Herculean flushes just help reset the root zone and offer natural forms of calcium for the plant to consume.
Nice.
It's a great way to turn your friends onto it. It's like, oh, you're running, there's some great nutrient lines out there. But there's also growers who are following different blogs or different sites, and they're following somebody else's directions to a T. Environments are different, lighting's different, everything's different. So what we find is that this grower's having all these issues because the salt's building up, where this grower's been doing it for 30 years and is killing it. Well, this guy might benefit from having a little Herculean in there to prevent that issue by just flushing it every once in a while.
Well, he's still figuring out what he's trying to do with the other. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Bob, I run the Romans and okay, this is Gary Bramblett. I'm not sure this is a question. I'm just going to read it. I run the Romans and I have found pushing. Okay, this is something I wanted to talk to you about, not a question. So I'm going to read it. So, Bob, I run Romans and I have found pushing the Greek and then bringing it up to pushing the Romans. I have 0 issues and a 20% yield over straight Greek, depending on genetics run to keep up the great show. So, a lot of people, I don't even know what I'm saying here, but when you're running the Roman, I mean, you there?
Yeah, I'm just seeing if I have a better connection anywhere.
Okay.
It's just so bad. Yeah, that's it. Let me see if that one works. So go ahead and keep answering.
Okay, I don't even know what I wanted to talk about this, but I mean, do you feel like that there's an advantage to running the Roman of getting a greater yield?
Well, it really depends on the plant, the grower, and the style. I mean, I had one guy who did an autoflower. We gave out that feeding schedule, and his email back was, here's why I use everything. And his breakdown was, I get all the colors I want, the flavors I want, the terpene profiles I want, the yield I want, and when I did anything less, I got 20% less. So it really just boils down to the grower. I personally don't use it all. I just talked to a guy from using it all because it's not necessary to have it all. But as far as like the guys who do run it all, they do see the yield increase and they see the benefit of it.
So someone running Roman...
that guy pretty much says it.
Yeah, it's right there, work for him. So running the Roman over running just more of the Greek can certainly have a difference, but it's a genetic kind of thing, you think? It's just...
Often.
Yeah.
I mean, if your plant isn't going to throw a skunky terpene, terpenes out at the end, then there's no point in running this type of, Triton straw with it. Or, if you don't want the gas or your plant doesn't do gas, then you don't need this, that, or the other. I think Greek is just a really good standalone covering majority of all the bases, and you're really going to get a very nice, clean, finished product. Roman's like going, all right, well, how much saffron do you use? I mean, is that 1 grain of saffron or 14 grains of saffron?
I got you.
I mean, it comes down to like, the $150 a plate steaks or the the sizzler.
So would you say that you would start off with the Greek and you would only go to Spartan or Roman for a reason or for an experiment?
Do what with the Greek and the Roman?
So the Greek is kind of the baseline, and then if you're going down to like a Spartan or up to a Roman, that you really need a reason, or that you're trying to experiment to try some different stuff.
Yeah, you're dialing it in. I personally like the sample kit of the 6 things with Olympus up and Chaos. That's my base. Everything outside of that is literally dialing in what I want that plant to do. Aphrodite seems to make it into pretty much every single mix, and Persephone's makes it into pretty much every mix now. But I run that sample kit religiously, and beyond that, it's just to see what I can do to the plants.
Okay. Junction Farm. Hey there, Bob. I've got some recycled soil with PMs in the 1300s and a low pH of 5.8. Had to use it for clone transplants and hoping they won't burn from too many ppms while trying to bring the pH up with her flushes at 6.5. I haven't used BK in veg yet, but do use it in flower. Wondering if using it in veg will help use up the high ppms. Best to not throw another factor into the mix while I'm already working through some issues. Or that. As always, many thanks for your hard work, shared community, and knowledge bringing us to us all. Happy 420. So, would you use BK to push some of those ppms out, or would you just flush? And should he have really not done that?
A combination of chaos and then definitely doing some hurt flushes to get it down a little bit. Did you get that?
Yeah, I did. I got it. So the BK would push more nutrients through the soil, in theory?
Oh, yeah, no, because it's telling your plant to grow, and if you have that many parts per million available, the plant's going to access it, and so you might get some, unfavorable tip burn or just some discoloration during a little period of time. I think right now, because she's in, when I say she, because I'm guessing this is Junction Farm out in the East Coast. Bless her heart, great woman. But with that 5.8, as a clone, early veg, she's got all this nitrogen available to her. 1,300 parts per million is probably going to be not all nitrogen, but it's going to be a majority of that.
Sure.
It's going to get brought up quickly. I don't think you'll run into too many issues, but I would definitely be running more HERC right now to kind of reduce that 1,300. And then if this is Jamie, then let me know, because what we'd like to do is get that 5.8 up before you go into too many plantings or planting up, because when you get into bloom, taking a 5.8 pH and trying to get it back into that mid-6s is pretty tough. I'd like to try to get that conditioned before she goes into bloom or they go into bloom. Yeah, 5.8, I'm more concerned about the 5.8 than I'm at the 1,300.
Okay, so with that 5.8, when you got a clone, you've got it in there, and it's early, and you don't want to feed this much, would you be pushing maybe just some HERC and some Olympus up? Or,
you could probably get away with HERC, Olympus up, or HERC and Gaia, and Olympus up.
Okay,
and
so
running a really mild recipe like it's a super soil. This to me right now, as it stands, is a super soil designed for vegetative growth at a 5.8. If we can get that pH up, then we can transition that into bloom, and that 1,300 should be much lower by the time we go into the bloom cycle. So that person could probably use a lot less fertilizer for the first couple of weeks while they're reducing the parts per million. The plant will have access to all that food, so I'm not too concerned about it being hungry during that time.
Would you ever
be fixing that pH?
Would you ever use just Olympus up early in the game like that when you know there's food in the soil?
What's that?
Would you ever use just Olympus up early? First couple of weeks.
Just Olympus up?
Yeah, no?
No, if your water pH sucks, sure, but no, if you have a 7 water, you don't want to just
you got to use the full thing. So if you use the Gaia, maybe the HERC, and you use the Olympus up to bring your pH up, and you're at 5.8 and you want to get up into the 6s, what would you mix your mixture at, the pH of your mixture?
Well, you don't want to, because they're still in veg and they're still young plants, so you don't want to go too high because you're going to go too far away from where the nitrogen's available. So, 6.2, 6.3, just to keep them fed, but to slowly start buffering that soil. Ideally, we'll have a conversation in getting them a limestone product to bring that pH up in the soil without hammering it with just liquid calcium. I want to put in like limestone or calpril or microna, some type of calcite lime that's going to get in there and actually buffer the actual medium, not the nutrients in the bottles.
So if you were in this situation where you knew you had some funky soil that had a low pH that you had to use, would you have amended it with something like that before you planted?
Yes, I would have. I would if this was me, and I would use calpril because it's like One Shot, but it's just limestone with no magnesium, no sulfur. A lot of times, dolomitic lime will over-sulfonate and over-magnesium your product in the soil, giving you this super high pH spike from the calcium, where calpril or microna limestone, it's a slower releasing buffering agent, so it keeps that low pH at bay while it's constantly leaching into calcite.
So calpril, go ahead.
But in this condition, at 5.8, their vegetative growth is going to be gorgeous because it's that nitrogen level right where it wants to be. But if they can get that's why I'm like, if it's who I think it is, they need to reach out if they're watching the show out on the East Coast. They have a potential order in with OCG right now. We can get Calpro on that order to fix this type of pH issue.
So, just what is Calpro?
Calpro is literally calcium bicarbonate crushed into a fine powder, then reconstituted with a lignin to make a little tiny Prel ball. Very much like One Shot.
So a slow release.
The guy who I partnered up with, who helps me with One Shot, designed Calpro for the Pacific Calcium. Great product. I use it on everything: gardens, lawns, bushes, shrubs, roses, and cannabis. It's in everything.
What's Microna?
Microna is the exact same thing, but it's fine powder of pure calcite limestone. So it looks like our crushed bone meal we do, but it's pure calcium.
So
that's literally what we make Olympus up with. We just take that and solubilize Microna limestone and turn it into Olympus up.
What's the difference between those two, using them as a soil amendment to bring your pH up in your soil?
One will do it right now and then wash out because it's more soluble, and the other will sit there and just leach, and keep it at bay.
So would you use half 50-50?
I hit it, and I get it to like the 6.3 with a sprinkle.
I should have just let you talk.
No, it's fine.
How would you use those two together? It's just like go ahead.
So yeah, basically, if I had this isn't her issue, this person's issue. I'm just assuming it's Jamie.
Sure.
If in this case, I would only use Calpro because the pH isn't tragically low. 5.8 means that a little bit of Calpro will leach it up in the veg cycle. They'll be perfect in bloom. But if you're at like a 5.5 or less, like 5.2, I've seen like some Pro mixes come out at 5.2, 5.1, 5.4. That's the one where it's like you sprinkle on that Microna, the fine powder on top, it waters in, it corrects the pH, then you put the Calpro, the prilled one on top, that will slowly leach in over the period of time. So one hits the pH correction and the other one maintains the correction.
Okay. Good stuff. I think that's it. That's all the questions. We really blew through them. You were in rare form today, I think.
Well, you missed the one about CalMag.
Which one's that?
I've always wanted to ask, when Scott says regular CalMag doesn't work with the line, did he mean because it's not organic or because of some other reason?
Oh, I did miss a couple questions here. Okay.
From Tim Baker. And to that, it's CalMag does work with the line. CalMag works with every line, and that's why everybody says CalMag. The downfall is that most CalMags are calcium nitrate, magnesium nitrate. Nitrate. That's what we don't like, is the nitrate versions of these Cals and Mags. And we've discussed that for many years. It does fix things. If you have a mag issue, hit it with a CalMag. The downfall is you're going to taste the nitrates at the end, and that's what we don't like, is that straw, that grass, that hay flavor comes from these CalMag treatments to fix magnesium issues. Now that's why we promote Magamp or Epsom salt or even magnesium sulfate, because that form of magnesium comes in a sulfate form which enhances terpenes, the sulfur does, and the mag corrects the mag issue. And you don't need Cal when you're running Nectar because we are calcium. So Cal, Magamp, or Epsom salt.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with Cal Mag other than it just makes our product taste not as desirable.
It doesn't fit well in this scenario with using Nectar.
It's not our cup of tea. We have to use it as one stabilizer in one product. Outside of that, we find that the flavor from CalMag, from nitrogen forms, make our fruit taste sweeter. Now, General Organics had their CalMag Plus, which was a calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate. And that one would have been a very usable product when it came to Nectar, because it's running on these two different forms that aren't nitrate forms. Calcium nitrate is a super fast and available calcium in nitrogen form, and magnesium nitrate is highly soluble nitrogen magnesium form. So it does work. It just, if you have a bad flavor from it, don't blame the herb, blame the CalMag.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last one.
Yeah, user Bosco. Go ahead.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, the long and short of the question is, he's like, hey, this is too damn complicated using the Nectar. I got to do the pH testing all the time. I got to use 7 or 8 different bottles. It's $17 a bottle. And if I've got plants in multiple stages of growth, how do I deal with that? So I guess, maybe how you can decomplexify the thing, but also what do you do when you have when you're doing plants at different stages. Now, because in my mind, I'm thinking you put 4 plants in your tent, you grow them up from little babies all the way up. But some people probably have multiple things going on, and it gets real complicated, especially if you're doing 7, 8, 10, 15 plants. How do you answer that, I guess, is what the question is.
I don't know. How do you sell a guy a Toyota who loves Volkswagens? And how do you sell a Ford guy a Chevy? You just don't, and you don't care. And at the end of it, it's, you have to just love what you're doing. The guys that love Nectar love to manipulate what they're doing. They like to play with what they're doing. They like to dial in what they're doing. It just comes down to the method of the grower. When you're a modeler, you don't go out and I want to be an advanced modeler, so I'm going to go get the snap together one. It's just,
yeah.
You need a snap together model, go get the snap together model. But if you want 17,000 pieces that are this big that you have to individually paint and take 16 years to build, that's your prerogative and that's your style. It's just who you are.
One thing, me talking, I guess, you're the expert here, but I know, doing I do the videos, when I put these videos together and edit them, I was using Final Cut Pro on the MacBook, and then I wanted to switch to LumaFusion on the iPad, because for various reasons. And the first couple times I did it, I'm like, oh my God, this is the hardest thing ever. This sucks. I'm going to go back. But for whatever reason, I stuck to it. And after I'd done it a little bit, it was easier and faster actually to do it on the other thing. And yeah, it blows your mind. It's like this seems daunting when you first start it, but after you've done it 3 or 4 times, I think you find it's not that big a deal and not that different from the other things as far as the amount of work you put into it.
No, and I get it all the time. I mean, I even get attacked often. You guys are greedy, making people use that. It's like, I use 6 products as the owner. I'll be the first person out there to say, you don't need all of them. I will downsell my own company and product because if you're using, out of the gate, hey man, I want to run your product. I want to run the Roman.
No!
Why would you? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. So it really just comes down to the grower and how they really want to perceive it to be. It's not a difficult line if you love doing this kind of stuff. I personally get to a point where I don't love doing this stuff on some nights where it's like, all right, today they're getting diet because I don't want to mix up 8 things. I want to go inside and, do a puzzle with my wife. I don't want to sit here and mix. But then there's days where I'm like, ooh, today I'm going to give a little more Afro, a little more of the Persephone, look at what they do. And then I get excited again. I mean, right now we're going to go up to pig farms. Yeah, once we can social drive to the same car, maybe I'll just stick you in the back of the van with a cellophane wall. We'll drive up there, and we're going to do a whole episode on alkalinity in water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be an episode, and from just what I've seen from the last visit I had there to what he sent me today, it's a dark to light situation. I mean, we are looking at something where he has watched this gradual decrease in yield and quality and everything over the last year, and then we finally figured out what it was. And it's just mind-blowing, the difference. And to watch somebody who, Pig has so much passion when it comes to growing.
Yeah.
But when he starts getting kicked in the balls and he just stops having that passion, you start to get a little concerned about somebody who loves this plant so much. And then all of a sudden the light bulb turns on. Everything gets fixed, and overnight we see this amazing difference, and now you get this, excitement back. That's what I love about this industry is you start to hit the bottoms and the dregs, or I don't want to run 17 parts because it's just too daunting. But then you do, like this guy that sent me a video of Bob's intro going with all the love, because he's also in his grow with a big screen TV behind him watching these shows while he's growing, so all out of fun and dandy. if you have that passion, you get to see a whole different grower, and that's so much fun to me. And that's where I can't wait to get up there to see Peg soon, because that dude's dancing on clouds right now from what he's seeing.
Nice. Well, cool. I think that's a show.
Yeah.
All right.
It should do it. I mean, I hope everybody's staying safe. That guy also asked me what I drink. A lot of people ask, what's in that coffee cup? Or what's in that cup? It's always drinking it. It's not soda. Literally just espresso water. So, just let everyone know I don't drink a bunch of sugar or, aspartame or
any of that sort of thing.
just straight Kona coffee from my folks out there in Hawaii. They send me.
That's a show.
Yeah, we all stalled.
All right, I'm turning it off.
Well, maybe soon we'll be able to get together.
I hope so. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.